For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth, keepers of faith, makers of peace, and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are one.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me just fine? Yes. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us today. Buenos días, bienvenidos a nuestra comunidad unitaria universalista de San Miguel de Allende. Good morning and welcome to our Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Miguel de Allende. As you see, we're having technical issues due to flooding last week. The good thing is we have some rain. The bad thing is flooded all the technical equipment. So we're going to be dealing with these issues. But anyways, the Sunday Service Committee and our speakers worked really hard today to develop and give you a beautiful service. But anyways, we request and we ask for your understanding, and we're grateful for your patience because maybe the screen is not going to working great, the audio is not going to be magnificent as another timings, but we're going to try to do our best with what we have as a very resilient community that we are. And thank you for joining us today. Gracias por acompañarnos hoy. In the knowledge of the sacred space of Chichimeca, Otomi, and Pami, I want to welcome all to this sacred space and shared space. No matter what you believe, who you love, no matter your political preferences, race, gender, or spiritual background. Conociendo y reconociendo el espacio Chichimeca, Otomi y Pami, quiero darles la bienvenida a todos en este espacio sagrado y compartido, sin importar sus creencias, amores, preferencias políticas, raza, género o trasfondo espiritual. We encourage you to bring all yourself and embrace the diversity that exists in the interconnectedness that brings us together today. Los animamos a que se muestren con todo su ser y a abrazar la diversidad existente y la interconexión que nos une el día de hoy. I'm Carla Espinosa, very proud member of our fellowship and your service leader today, co-service leader. And thank you for choosing to be part of this meaningful gathering. Before we move into our service, we would like to welcome visitors, and we have a few announcements. If we have visitors, can you please stand up so we can identify us and welcome later? Welcome. Please stand. If we have Zoom visitors, please type your name and we're going to welcome you later. Please stay afterwards the service so we can have a discussion in some. Guests, new members, please stay afterwards for coffee and cookies. I tasted a little bit ahead and they're really good today. Yeah, we were nervous about the electricity. And if you have chance to take your coffee and go to the welcome table and talk with other members will be amazing. We have a lot of information and opportunities, including the Social Justice Foundation. And if you want to know more about events that are coming on, please check your order of service. In the back, we have what's going on this week, and it's very important information, especially if we want to keep our social life active in our community. I want to welcome Jean-Marie and Frankie, our delegates to this year's General Assembly. They have been UU since 2002 and members of UUFSMA since 2020. With Frankie joining our board of directors this year, the rest of the time they operate a small publishing company, bringing a new and classic genre fiction into the world, dote on their grandchildren and fall into complicated love over and over again with the liberatory history and potential of Unitarian Universalism, who is going to speak with us today. Thank you a lot. And we do record our services. And you can find the link of those in the website UUFSMA.org. Okay? Even with the technical issues, our technicians record everything. Sometimes it's really better quality, especially these 2 weeks. And while on the website, please check our various events and activities and what's going on sponsored by the fellowship and the information to how become a member if you feel inclined to.
Okay. Thank you so much, Carla. Can you all hear me? Yes. Awesome, yay. All right, so I'm Frankie Hill. I'm one of your worship team for today. Okay, thank you. Yes, always feel welcome to do that if you can't hear me. This chalice lighting comes from Phoenix Moon, the worship associate at Thursday's Juneteenth worship service at General Assembly. So a lot of the material we're seeing today is from, including the video we saw earlier, is from General Assembly of this year. And Phoenix Moon says, "We light this chalice in honor of freedom, not freedom for some, but freedom for all. not a freedom bound by borders or belonging to one people, one state, or one history, but a freedom that calls to the whole human family. May it burn bright with the promise of justice, shared hope, and a liberating love that leaves no one behind.
Now we want to stand up as able and willing to sing the hymn 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
And now, I invite you all to join together in reciting this fellowship unique covenant. This is our promise that we aspire to, of how to be in relation to each other and the larger world. Please stand as you're willing and able. I will start in Spanish, and Frankie is going to guide us in English. In very slow Spanish. Thank you. Respetamos todos los estilos de vida dentro de su red interdependiente y trabajamos por un mundo justo y pacífico. Alentamos la búsqueda de la verdad y la comprensión total. Nos esforzamos por mantener compasión en nuestras relaciones y buscamos valores que beneficien nuestras vidas y las vidas de los demás. Este es nuestro convenio.
Okay. I'll try to go a little slow as well. We respect the interdependent web of life and work for a just and peaceful world. We encourage the search for truth and meaning, strive for compassion in our relationships, and seek values that will benefit our lives and the lives of others. This is our covenant.
Capsized by a wave, brought down by the reef. Don't say hope is so far away, it won't help anyway. Try to breathe.
Cold winds blow away all things closing in. Don't say God is so far away, he won't help anyway. Try to say.
We honor her with a candle as well. She attended the New to UU class and supported the fellowship in many ways, as well as being in a women's group. Our fourth candle is one of memory in honor of the Reverend Canon George Woodward, who died in an automobile crash this week. He was a personal friend of mine and a good friend to this fellowship. With this candle, we also send our support and sympathy to the people of St. Paul's who are grieving the loss of a wonderful minister. Once again, sadly, there has been losses from gun violence. Here in San Miguel, where 2 were killed and many injured in a shooting, we light a candle in memory of those who were killed and in support of their families and for the healing of those who are injured. We also light another candle remembering those children killed and those injured in the recent shooting at the Catholic school in Minneapolis. By lighting a candle for those who have died, we remember the light that they brought into the world, and we acknowledge that their light still shines among us in so many ways. Life is always a mix of joys and sadnesses, and now we turn to some joys. Several of you want us to light a candle for Donnie Doyle, who had taken a bad fall down some stairs, but she is now healing and on the mend. Her family come from Austin, and we wish her a quick and complete recovery. Donis Doyle. Bill Dulcimer, who all of you probably know, is in good spirits. I spoke with him just a couple of days ago, and he's doing really well in a rehab in New York City. Another candle for Wyman Russo and Tina Lane, who have moved to Sophie's new location and by all reports are adjusting well to their new home. And Louisa Fields asked that we also light a candle for Sophie, who had to move all her residents on short notice. Her statement to us was that Sophie really does care. And so now let's go back to the Aldea to see if there are any joy, sorrows, and concerns that were submitted on cards. And as we do that, I will take a look to see if any came on the chat. And also, when we come back, I will light a couple of candles for the world.
From Billy Davids, a loving family celebration of life for my mother that was gathered to embrace the lovely life that she left us. And that's a joy, you know, the celebrations. And another joy is another joy. It's coming this coming weekend, and it's free, no admission. Beautiful orchids from all over Mexico are going to be shown at Institute Allende, so we can give ourselves the chance to enjoy the beauty of life. And I have a personal concern about our friend Jane Wilkinson. She had a little fall from her bicycle. She broke her arm, but besides that, she's fine and still willing to enjoy everything around her. She's now with her family. Here at the Aldea also, we have, and as Tom already said, our women's group Las Viajeras mourns, and we're going to miss a lot our sisters. That's the joys and concerns that we have today here.
Okay, and back to our concerns are certainly not limited to just our members and friends. We light another candle of great concern for the hardworking immigrants in the United States, many from Mexico, who are living in fear of being arrested and being denied due process in violation of the U.S. Constitution. Those who are guests in Mexico are so grateful and blessed by the welcome received here. And we are greatly concerned about the way the U.S. is treating Mexicans. We light another candle for the many ways the present U.S. policy is having a negative impact on Mexicans, both in the U.S., traveling in the U.S., and here in Mexico. We light our yellow and blue candle for the people of Ukraine and all who suffer because of the effects of this unjust and unprovoked war. We pray for a ceasefire and a just and lasting peace. We light our other large candle for all those suffering as a result of the horrible war in the Middle East, those lives lost, those displaced, and especially those suffering from lack of medical supplies and food. We pray that humanitarian aid will be allowed to reach them immediately before too late. We also pray for the release of the Israeli hostages that have suffered horribly at the hands of Hamas for more than 600 days. And we pray the Red Cross will be allowed to minister to them and for their release alive and as soon as possible. We pray for a ceasefire in that area, the end of killing, and for a path to peace that recognizes the equal worth and dignity of all people. We light a final candle for all those joys, sorrows, and concerns held in our hearts this morning, but which remain unspoken. And for those who are at the aldear, if you wish to come forward and light a silent candle, you may do so now.
Trouble through the rubble of time. I'm feeling the weight of decline. Through broken bed seams lies a hopeful dream. There's a place to find. Outside the lines, oh, this wide world of mine. You get what you give if you decide to try.
Good morning. I'm Jean Marie Stine, and I have been asked to tell you a little about Frankie Hills and my own experiences as delegates to the 2025 Unitarian Universalist Assembly back in June. From here on, I can only speak for myself, and not the UUA or even this congregation. And I fear in doing so, I might leave out something key or get it wrong. But based on my own understanding, the Unitarian Universalist Association is just that. An association of member congregations, including most in the U.S. and a handful worldwide, including UUFSMA. But based its purpose is to provide congregational support, especially in times of conflict or special need. It also creates resources that benefit all congregations, like videotaped classes on UU history and social justice issues, plus the publication of pamphlets and books of interest to UUs and others. The UUA is run by a democratically elected board of trustees, just as this congregation is. It is entrusted, among other things, with organizing and hosting our annual gathering, the UU General Assembly, which traces its roots back to 1825, and more goes on at a General Assembly than can possibly be summarized here. At its core, it's a voting meeting. Delegates from member congregations vote for members of the board and on the occasional change to bylaws to ensure we're operating in ways that are consistent with fundamental UU values like justice and compassion, as well as on things like actions of immediate witness and congregational study, and action issues to determine the course of our denominational focus over the next year or more. It may sound pretty dry, but when you realize the issues being discussed at GA and the stances and actions we take as a whole involve many of the most urgent issues currently facing humanity: racism, authoritarianism, climate change, war, poverty, homelessness, public health care, and more. You may begin to see just how electrifying it can be, electrifying and sometimes contentious. You may not believe this, but UUers do not always agree on the most effective approach to a particular problem. I mentioned the actions of immediate witness, or AIWS. Every year, delegates select 3 of these in response to significant developments in the world on which we feel we need to take a stand. This year, 3 AIWs were considered. Faithful defiance of authoritarianism, reaffirming our covenants for democracy and freedom. 2, funding global GLBTIQ freedom amid crisis, a call for immediate action and solidarity. And 3, we declare and reaffirm immigrants are people who have inherent worth and inalienable rights. And I haven't yet mentioned the CSAI or all the workshops and presentations. I'll let Frankie speak to some of those as he shares his response to this year's GA. And then after he has completed that, I will be back to finalize a few thoughts, and hopefully, between the two of us, we will have been able to show you why ours is no caravan of despair.
All right. Hello again. Okay, now I'm going to do our reading. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, it doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, even if you have broken your vows 1,000 times. Come, yet again, come, come. Jalaluddin Rumi. The reading continues for a moment. In transmuting this poem into the lyrics of hymn number 188, one key phrase has been omitted. It is this missing concept on which I, the author of the reading, wish to focus. Come even if you have broken your vows 1,000 times. It is apparent that Rumi's words intentionally welcome the stranger regardless of their imperfection. I'd like to invite you to consider a meaning even broader than that. What if we are welcoming both the friend and the stranger regardless of our own imperfection? Our shared values are declarations of what we strive to be and do in the world, and if and when we fall short of these ideals, that's almost the point. It is in the continual striving that we live into our covenant with ourselves and with each other. It is in the implied acknowledgement of imperfection that we find our calling to remain ever vigilant in putting forth the effort to achieve, if not perfection, then at the very least our somewhat lofty professed ideals: justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity, love. Come, come, whoever you are, though we have broken our vows 1,000 times, there is much work to be done. Come, yet again, come. That was adapted from the words of Cristina Fernandez McQuain, coordinator of family ministries at the UU congregation of Gwinnett in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Now this bit comes from me. The theme of General Assembly this year was Meet the Moment, by which the organizers meant, how does Unitarian Universalism meet this moment the world finds itself in right now? And answers to this question were proposed with each and every piece of GA business and programming. But there was a subtext that I think ran through all of it, saying that to meet the moment where it is, we need to meet us where we are. And here, because it's directly relevant to everything that happened at GA, I want to return to what Reverend Dr. Maria Cristina said in her wonderful sermon with us on August 3rd, Love is My Religion, and bookend the month with her words. UU centers love in the shape of social justice. This is religion at its best. It nourishes community, it gives strength, it values relationships, it cares for the suffering, it practices love, it breaks through labels and divisions, embracing and welcoming everyone. And with that vote at last year's GA to re-articulate Article 2, we asserted that our deepest common theological grounding is love. Why center love, they asked, and we responded, to make love real in the world. So what did that look like at this year's GA? To me, the heart of GA kicked off Wednesday evening with the Berry Street essay, delivered this year by Reverend Leela Sinha, entitled Tricksters and Tyrannies. In it, Sinha talks about transformative mischief as a valuable, underrated, and crucial approach in the face of an empire we can't fight head-on with matched power. So he uses examples from the musical Hamilton, the art of Aikido, deities from the Indian pantheon like Shiva and Shakti, and the British folklore hero, Robin Hood. So we're going to play a little clip of this.
What can you do instead when you know that direct confrontation will have little or no impact on the outcome? What can you do instead when you know you don't have the people or the weapons or the social or political power to straight up replace one leader with another, and the king, who could have been a king, is gone? He has to make things better without getting himself killed, because if he gets himself killed, he's no longer able to do anything. So what skills does he have? What are his tools? What is the locus of his power? People talk a lot about Robin Hood's prowess with the bow and arrow, and he was an incredibly good shot. But his true gift was his craftiness, his creativity, his wiliness, his mischievousness, his ability to come in under the wire and change things before anyone noticed and then slip out again like a fox, and his charisma. These are the stories that people living under a tyrant told about their hero.
And in discussing the value of mischief, Sinha also talks about finding your place, discerning what you can do, and actively including people whose approaches to organizing and to church differ from what's been accepted as the standard. So he starts the essay by saying, we have to choose terms on which we can prevail as us. And toward the end, ask us, where's your power? If you're not who the empire told you you were, who are you and what can you do? A presentation given the next day by Deepa Iyer, longtime community builder, lawyer, and author of Social Change Now, which is also our UU Common Read for this year and next year, took this idea further, introducing her concept of a social change ecosystem, encouraging people to find their best roles for their talents, personality, and calling. Her framework points out the crucial need not only for mischief makers, but for storytellers, healers, experimenters, builders, and many others. And that even in times of crisis, we can combine efforts with our whole selves. A couple of workshops built on this vision of authentic collective power and its cumulative effects. One of these, entitled Divining Priorities, Social Justice Mission and Trim Tabs, used one of Buckminster Fuller's metaphors for systemic change, little hydraulic flaps on the hulls of large ships that let them move and turn more quickly, as representing coordinated small efforts building the massive cultural shifts, and then applied that to church justice work. Another workshop called One with the Force, Love, Justice, and Resistance, featured the Reverend Sam Teitel saying, the brilliance of Star Wars is that it shows heroic people, marginalized people, poor farm kids and scoundrels and outcasts and weirdos showing up in the face of a totalitarian regime that seems impossible to resist. Star Wars gives us a vision of hope that oppression and empire can be resisted, and that they can be resisted by the likes of us. And if you're determined to make a place for everyone, you must refuse to leave marginalized people behind. We return to this message with the powerful Where lecture with Emmy and Peabody Award-winning journalist and activist Imara Jones. As she built up her research solidly throughout the lecture, Jones made it clear how the right-wing Christian nationalist movement in the US is using transgender people as a carefully researched wedge issue to advance their power by dividing the rest of the nation.
And so I think the plea here is to take the way in which anti-trans politics have been used to undermine democracy, have been used to set the table for authoritarianism, have been used to undermine the basic pillars and precepts of religion, to take it deadly seriously. And that the thing that they are counting on, that they have counted on, that they've been able to rely on, is the idea that fundamentally people don't care about trans people. They fundamentally are counting on that. They counted on it in the last election. You know, we know that the anti-trans ads that Trump ran at the end of the campaign were the single largest ad buy of that entire campaign. And so one of the best ways to counteract the role that anti-trans politics is playing in the undermining of democracy is actually to care about trans people.
There was much applause there. That latter point was built on by Alex Capitan, a UU freelance educator with the Transforming Hearts Collective, in their interactive presentation, Building Trans Justice, Safety, and Belonging. Alex invited us to look to our own UU communities and consider whether we were providing thoughtful welcome practices and meaningful inclusion for trans folks. Then they lovingly reminded us that according to a 2018 survey of trans UUs, 72% of respondents did not feel that their congregation was fully inclusive of them. So with a series of audience participation questions, and there should be some of the answers grouped together on one of the slides there, Alex focused on some primary factors of trans life, especially right now: joy, struggle, safety, and belonging. They asked trans participants how they experience these things within their churches and how their churches can become the sanctuaries we are called to be. And, as we know, trans people are not the only ones being used in the US to further an authoritarian agenda. The treatment of immigrants in the US and even naturalized citizens assumed to be immigrants by the people acting on that agenda has been particularly horrific. Among them, UU Refugee and Immigrant Services and Education, the UU Service Committee, and other groups offered a training entitled Preventing Catastrophic Loss, Community Care and Deportation Defense, where participants were trained in emergency safety planning for immigrants, observer roles during encounters with law enforcement, and the legal rights everyone still has in these cases. Delegates also voted by a very clear 99.2% in favor to support an action of immediate witness, which Jean Marie pointed to, entitled, "We Declare and Reaffirm Immigrants are People Who Have Inherent Worth and Inalienable Rights." Part of its introduction reads, "Our UU values affirm that justice demands fairness and equal protection of all. Due process, a cornerstone of democracy, guarantees that no one is deprived of life, liberty, or property without a fair hearing. When immigrants are denied these rights, we are called to respond with moral clarity and courageous action." And these AIWs are not just statements. They include a list of things you and your congregation can do, and a number of resources besides. Lastly, it's worth mentioning the Congregational Study and Action issue that delegates passed this year. Jean Marie already told you what those are in general: an opportunity for congregations to study an issue in depth over a few years. This one, entitled "Abolition is Faith Formation," was brought to GA by the Church of the Larger Fellowship and was inspired in large part by their Worthy Now prison ministry. This is sponsor and president of the Liberal Religious Educators Association, Aisha Hauser, introducing the CSAI.
We are inviting UUs to lean into developing an understanding that prisons predicated on a punitive system hurts us all in ways we aren't aware of. The more I learn about how the for-profit industrial complex developed and grew, the more I am committed to transforming society into one that would find horrific the idea of any profit being made off of caging human beings. I invite you to expand your imagination beyond what we understand to be realistic. The passage of this CSI would give us the opportunity as Unitarian Universalists to lean into this learning about what it means to live out our faith in a world through abolition. Join us, beloveds.
So I've mentioned some very small percentage of what happened at GA, but for me, the underlying point of attending is this. It's one of the best ways to look at the state of the world as it is right now, square in the face, and know you're not alone. Why center love, they asked, and we responded, to make love real in the world. This is what differentiates our UU communities and our work from any number of non-church activist groups. This is where faith comes in, not in a shared deity or rose-colored positivity glasses, but in a thoughtful and grounded faith that even when we've broken our promises 1,000 times, we can still form community, woven between each person's core of holiness, and that becomes the foundation of whatever we do next. Thank you. Now Jean Marie's coming back.
Before I read the last part of this service, or sermon, or homily, or whatever we might call it, I would just like to say one thing. I am an evangelical Unitarian Universalist. Don't believe in fire and brimstone, but a nice, cozy little warm fire with a cup of hot chocolate, that's what I believe in. And that's where I think people's happiness and love in one form or another usually start. This was the 5th GA Frankie and I have been honored to attend as delegates, and our first as delegates for the UUFSMA. Our very first General Assembly, we were there as delegates for the Eugene, Oregon UU, was in 2020, the first year of COVID. Doubtless, it would have been canceled if the UUA and so many hundreds of people had not already booked admission, booked a convention center, planned a whole program and agenda, hired a retinue of staff, etc., knowing that thousands of attendees would long for the fellowship of GA during a time of such isolation. But that a large in-person gathering would be ill-advised. The UUA managed to pull off the miraculous. They arranged in a very short time, because don't forget this was just starting in February and March, and the UUA was in June. They arranged for cameras and mics in almost every room of that convention center. Installed software that empowered delegates to vote from their own devices, planned live online workshops, presentations, business meetings, a full UU worship service every morning, and much, much more, all delivered via Zoom and other conferencing services, so that in 2020, the UUA held our first ever entirely online GA, marking what became a watershed moment in the history of the UU. One of the unanticipated outcomes of putting GA online was much like the universal access principles Rebecca Robb spoke of last week when she said that doing the right thing in disability justice always turned out to be of significant benefit to other people in unexpected ways. She cited the case of putting up curb cuts for wheelchairs and how it made life easier, not merely for those using wheelchairs, but those using walkers, strollers for their children. In a similar way, before 2020, even with some online participation provided, online participation had mostly been limited to those sufficiently privileged to afford things like travel, accommodation, meals, etc. That limitation kept the voices and thoughts of UUers without those financial means from ever being fully heard, and this was particularly true for those who were what activist Ira Armstrong calls outliers, because they are pushed to the edges of society and denied all but the lowest wage jobs, typically due to prejudice, such as gender diverse people, people who aren't white, disabled people, the neurodivergent, etc. Now they, by which I also mean we, can attend GA and vote without breaking the bank. And so can you. The number of delegates a congregation can send to GA is determined by its size. And I believe our fellowship had 1 or 2 slots for delegates that went unused this year. An event as big as GA is costly to put on, of course, and there are fees to attend. But if you find you need financial assistance and would like to be a delegate, there are UUA-sponsored scholarships to help. And if anything you have seen or heard today makes you want to go to a General Assembly and there are no delegate spots left, which is actually pretty rare, I have good news. You don't have to be a delegate to attend. Anyone who is a member of a UUA congregation can go. You can get full access to all sessions, workshop services, award ceremonies, workshops, plus the unique opportunity to meet and make friends with UUers from all over the world. The only thing a non-delegate can't do is vote. Next year's GA will be entirely online, and Frankie and I plan on being there. Hopefully as delegates, or simply as UUers interested in what new developments have occurred socially over the last year, and how our denomination will respond to changes in the wider world. We hope some of you will be there too. If you are and we see you, let's get together on chat. Maybe even meet again back in San Miguel afterwards over brunch. Because, for sure, ours is no caravan of despair.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. And at least personally, I learned a lot. As you can see, our speakers today, they were wearing masks. So if you're willing to get close with them, to talk, why the conversation, follow up, or just express gratitude for the time they took of their lives to create this beautiful sermon for us and delivered so wonderfully. Please, on the table we have masks, and wear them if you're going to get close to them, so we care together as a community for our speakers. Thank you. Now, an offering for different social classes from Francis Cosser. Now is the time for our financial offering. As a self-founded congregation, mostly, we do always need money, but we also need volunteers, social justice advocates, and friendly smiles, and diversity. So if you are ever unable to donate, you are still always welcome here. No questions asked. We're grateful for anything you feel able and willing to give. Each week, also, I'll take this moment to recognize one of the countless non-financial contributions that keep our congregation going. Each of us contributes to our congregation just by being here, by bringing your joy, your concern, your struggles, your questions, and your faith. Today, I would like to recognize ushers, volunteers, flower donors, greeters, and especially the staff. Thank you for all you do and share. As we pass the baskets, we're going to listen to this beautiful offering and music and we're going to gratefully receive your donations.
As a Black transgender Unitarian Universalist minister living in the South, my very being has become a midwife to an embodied freedom. And what I've learned in nurturing this freedom, even in its incomplete form, is this: freedom is like love. It must be cultivated, practiced, internalized, shared. It must be nourished over and over again through spiritual care and communal connection. That sacred, abiding force of divine love, the one that resists the lies of oppression, lives in each of us. It fuels our faith. It reminds us that we're not alone on this path of liberation. To carry the work of freedom forward, we must nurture its embodiment in ourselves and in our communities. Freedom is coming, not someday, but in every moment that we dare to meet it. Amen, Ashe, and may all beings be free.
May You Be Filled by Eric Williams. May you be filled with the blessings of this covenanted community. May you carry them with you as you depart from here. May you discover the places in the world where these blessings are needed. May you have the courage to share them. May be there an open place within you receive the blessings of the people whom you will meet along the way.
Sing with me. People, keep on learning. Soldiers, keep on warring. World, keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. People, powers keep on lying, while your people, they keep on dying. World, keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. No, it won't be too long. So no, I'm sorry, glad he let me try it again. 'Cause my last time on earth I lived a whole world of sin. And I'm so glad I know more than I knew then. Gonna keep on trying till I reach the higher ground. stop sleeping, 'cause it won't be too long. No, no, no. And I'm so darn glad he let me try it again, 'cause my last